My name is Debbie. My birth name is Deborah. My mother calls me Deborah. But since you're here tonight with me and watching this podcast, I give you permission to call me Debbie. So I'm so happy that you're joining us this evening, and I'm looking forward to having a dynamic conversation about bridging the gap between generations.
Cool.
Okay, so
get ready to rap.
Good.
Thank you, Dee. Thank you so much. So let's give a shout out to my grandson, Troy Johnson.
What up?
I am so glad that you are joining us tonight, Troy, and I appreciate that you showed up at such a short notice.
Anything for you.
So let's go ahead and dive right into the topic for tonight. And I'm going to put you on the spot, Troy. Even though I do that all the time, I'm going to do it again tonight. So let's talk about it. So you tell me, if you can share with me, please, the last time that you felt there was a generational gap for something that you were dealing with in your life. Maybe you were dealing with a younger person or an older person, but the connection wasn't being made based on their age.
Well, I can... just based off somebody younger. So I'm a football coach out here in the Fairfield area with the Solano County Ravens. I coach
out
8 and 7 year olds. So you can imagine the disconnect or the connect at times, with them, and trying to get them to be aggressive, but also attentive. Attention span at that age is crazy.
There is none.
Crazy. Grass, picking it, flowers, flicking them. It can be just crazy. But I try to keep that gap between them. Try to be
Authentic, maybe?
Authentic. But still be a figure in their life to where they can come to me, but also at the same time we here to handle business, so.
If they were picking the grass, give us an example of what you did to bring them back.
I don't want to say what I be saying. In them.
You can't say it on camera?
Nah, I mean,
They're 7.
Yeah, I know.
I do keep reminding them.
What is it?
They're 7, Troy, but he's a good coach.
It's
awesome
really just
coach.
more so physical stuff. Take a lap, push-ups,
got it.
whatever the case is.
Got it.
Keep them on task as much as I can.
Okay.
I'm not just out there cussing kids out.
Well, I can think of a personal story that Troy and I experienced probably about,
A month
ago. When I was, actually it was more than a month ago because I can go by the date that we had our last event for the Blacc Tea, Sips of Summer, which was, Janelle, you remember?
July 28th.
Thank you. So about the end of the last week in July, I was trying to put together a video of all our different podcasts. And I deferred to Troy to help me because him being a millennial, he has a lot more knowledge in how to operate some of my technical kind of stuff that I'm not as savvy with. I think that's one of the things that I experienced in dealing with different generational age groups is that sometimes there's an expectation that we all come to the table with the same experience, the same life, with that, even the same iPhone or whatever kind of phone you're using. And that's not always the case. And Troy was very, very kind. And he had all the traits, I believe, that are necessary for us to try to bridge the generational gap. First of all, I am his grandmother, so he was very respectful, and my hat goes off to him, because I have worked with other millennials and even people younger, and not that they're not respectful. I think that a lot of times the assumption is that I come to the table with the same set of skills that they have, and I don't. Don't tell anybody. I'm actually a baby boomer. You might not know that, I look pretty damn good, I think. I don't know shit. Maybe my mirror's not, that is not telling the truth. But anyhow.
You're old and you don't want to learn anything.
Yeah. No. I think that, keeping it real, so I really respected that time we had that conversation, Troy. And do you remember that when you were helping me trying to get that video together?
Yep, on your phone to the laptop, yeah.
And you were this is for real. I'm not just saying this for the camera or whatever, but he was very respectful. He was very considerate. He recognized that I had this thing I needed to get done. I was going to get it done. He didn't boo-hoo, I felt, what I brought to the table, but you shared your knowledge and we got it done. And I think that's the key sometime when you're dealing with different generations, especially when it comes to technology. Because technology is ever-changing. I mean, I could probably talk to my 6-year-old, and I'm going to tell you a little story. And this is another story, because this is the time for all of us to share maybe some of our experience of, how there's different generations. I don't know what her generation's called, and if somebody knows what the 6-year-old generation's. Anybody have any idea?
No idea.
Okay. Well, anyway, this morning I was in the spa with my grandbaby, and she says to me, "Grandma, why is the sky blue?" I said, "Hell, I don't know. You could ask Google when you go in the house." She was like, "Yeah, I'm going to ask Google." But it was so interesting and really amusing to me that she assumed that Google is a person, but it's just a person in that box. So I had to explain to her about programming and letting her know that Google only knows what someone programs them or it to say, if you will. She found that very interesting, which was cool. I found an opportunity to bridge with my young granddaughter, but as well as use it as a learning experience. I learned from her, she learned from me, because I found it very.
AI come in.
That's true. AI gonna be worse.
Okay.
Girl. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave that to somebody else to talk to her.
Okay.
I'm just learning Google. Hell.
AI is gonna be a mother.
It is. But it was interesting. She goes into the house, Phil, and she walks up to Google and she says, "Google, hey, why is the sky blue?" And she waits for Google to go through its little, feedback, and she takes it all in. And I that story is so, it goes to my heart, because I remember when she was 3 and my grandson was 4. Now, Thena really didn't understand Google. She would get upset. And because Giovanni could talk to Google, he would play games, he would do things, he would just go on. And now she's grasped that Google can be her best friend too.
So how old is she?
Thena's 6. Giovanni is 7.
Gosh.
Giovanni is Troy's grandson.
One of them is my, Giovanni is my son.
Yeah.
Say one of them.
Yeah. So it's just so cool. And I think that was just, to me, the epitome of generations interacting, respecting each other. It was a lot easier because I'm dealing with a 6-year-old. But, when it comes to dealing with the generations that we're all dealing with, whether they're as old as, I shouldn't say old as, but if they have the grace of God to be my mother's age, who's now 86. And I already told you, how old I am. But anyway, and then there's just so many people are always going to be younger or older than you. If we can learn to embrace that and appreciate that everybody brings something to the table.
Right.
So those are your children. So are you noticing any gap in between as far as when you were born and now that they're born? Any generational gap as far as technology or music or just life, period?
Music. If I see another kid gritty in my face, that's that young right foot walking with the heat. You don't know about the gritty?
I was going to say, what did he say?
Okay, see,
They don't know.
Yeah, I
Generation
see.
gap.
I see.
Okay.
What's
So that
gritty?
it's just a dance that the kids do. It really is big on Fortnite,
I just
which is a
learned
video
wobble.
game.
She don't know what Fortnite
I know.
is.
That's why it's a video game
Okay.
that the kids play, and people, football players do it, NBA players do it. Everybody gritty.
can you give us a
nowadays.
sample?
Oh no, I don't
You
know
can't
how
get up
to
and
do it.
just give us a quick sample.
What is it a dance?
It's a dance.
song?
It's a dance
Okay.
and a song. It's a dance to a song.
Dance to a song.
Yeah.
And the name of the song is Gritty?
Nah, that's
Oh.
just the name of the dance.
That's the
Well,
name
see,
of
I
the
used to always tell my kids because especially my oldest son, he thinks he knows my music, and he plays my music. Sometimes when I come over to his house, I say, "What you know about that? You don't know nothing about that.
old school.
You know."
Keeping it real.
But they do know a lot about it. I mean, they use it and what they call it, sample it.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh, it's
yeah.
a bunch
Yeah.
of
They
samples.
sample it all the time.
Otis Redding.
Yeah.
all that.
Yeah, no, that's
Don't be sitting on the dock of the bay, baby.
I don't know that.
I don't either.
I know you quoting something. I don't know what it's from though.
Sitting on the
Generational
dock of the bay.
gap.
Okay, there you go.
But you guys were talking about work earlier, so we're switching it over
Okay.
to careers, right?
Yeah, let's go. Let's talk about work. I'm just going to give my personal story real quick. So I retired. By the grace of God, I retired when I was 54, and I'm now 66. I'm really not ashamed to tell you that I am 66. I'll be 66. And for those of you out there in podcast land, my birthday is October 13th. So if you want to hit me up with something, go ahead.
Podcast. Generational gap.
I don't know what you call it. I call it podcast land. The people out there. Anyway, birthday's October 13th. But with that said, when I retired,
It's a good day.
It's a good day. Amen.
My son's
Amen.
birthday. 13,
Yeah,
both of
really?
them born on the 13th.
Is that Dameon?
Both, my youngest son, Damian, August the 13th. Bo, October the 13th.
That's
I
why
see.
we
Lucky
connected.
13.
When I met Dameon, there was something I connected with him. That's
Yeah,
cool. That's
yeah.
really cool. We'll have to talk about that after. But anyhow, getting back to the what we're supposed to be talking about, because I could ramble on and go down a lot of rabbit holes. But anyway, we're talking about careers and how within the career or your job, your employment, whatever you want to call it. When I remember when the younger people started coming onto the scene. When I say younger, at the time, I'm looking at my 50s, and then we had a lot of new people coming onto the scene, and they were 20-something, and they came in with different perspectives, a different way of dealing with young people, or a different way of dealing with clients within the community. And sometimes that was difficult because for me, it was difficult for me, I think, in retrospect now, because my ego got involved. And so one of the things I have learned, I think, in really working with different generations is to leave the ego at the door. Everybody comes to the table with something. I think, like I was mentioning earlier with Troy, if we all come to the table and we come with the feeling of respect, first of all. If I respect you and you respect me, whether you're 55 or you're 25, we can respect that we all have different views, different experiences, different challenges. But if we realize that we have the same goal, especially in the career path, okay? I don't mind telling you now, I'm retired now. So I was a probation officer for this wonderful county that I live in, Solano County. So the goal was always the same, that we all needed to supervise the probationers that were assigned to us. So whether you're 25 or you're 55, the job was the same. So share with me, I would say if I could talk to my younger co-workers now. I didn't do this, I'll tell you. But in my 50s, I didn't do this. First of all, in my 50s, I was probably menopausal. So I was crazy. I needed to get up out of that job. Because as my girlfriend and I talk a lot about that. She's a retired probation officer. And it was like, if I don't retire from this job, I'm going to catch a case. They're going to be supervising me. But anyhow, now that I'm older, a little more wiser, and gone through menopause, I can really respect, and I think I would talk to the younger people like we all have the same goal. We need to supervise these people? How do we do that, whether you're 25 or 55?
They don't want to be supervised. I can't stand when people tell me what to do. That's not going to happen.
But I mean, I'm talking about a probation officer that came in that's 25 years old. He or she is 25 years old. I'm 55, okay? Their perspective is different because they come from a different generation.
They want it now. They don't want to wait. They don't want no retirement. They don't want no.
Hold up. We didn't say that.
No, well, they want it. Like I said, they want it now. They don't want to work 50 years or 30 years on a job.
Well,
I don't think that's it. It so happens that our society and way it's set up right now, even if you were to work for 30 or 50 years, that does not guarantee you a retirement. That's
true.
the problem.
Okay.
So,
I want to say this.
Well,
I want to say this
go ahead.
about when my experience of coming to the workforce was that I was sandwiched. So I have people that are older than me that are usually in leadership roles because they've earned the right to be there and they had the expertise and skill set. Then you have some new people that were, fresh onto the workforce, and being in the middle made it challenging because a lot of times what I had to do was explain to leadership what the younger generation wanted. And they didn't speak the same language, like it was gritty, right? They didn't know what I said, what they're saying makes sense. It doesn't make sense. Yes, it does make sense. This is what they're saying. But it also required me to be able to straddle the line. You know what I mean? When it came to communication and having some active listening and always wanting to hear what the other person's side of the story would be. So,
well, my youngest son, I know he doesn't. He wants to be his own boss. He doesn't want to work for anybody.
that's right.
No,
That's what we were talking about.
He does his own thing. He has started his own business. Whereas my older son, he like Debbie. He works for the for the county of Solano. He's in corrections.
Mm-hmm.
And it's totally different than the two of them. You know,
Right.
I know your group.
The
You probably
millennials.
want to have your own business, be your own boss, do your own thing.
Of course. I mean, it's really not the fact that, first of all, you got to start off somewhere.
Right.
Coming out 18, 19 years, 16, you're going to work for somebody.
Right.
And everyone isn't a worker. And that's okay. If you don't want to get up every day at 4:00 in the morning to make it to your job at 6 and be there until 3:30, sit in traffic until 5:30, get home at 6:30, eat dinner, wake up and do it all over again. You have to take your path to do it, but if something wake up in you and you tell yourself like, this is not what I want for myself for the next 20, 30 years, if you can take it upon yourself to take the steps to become an entrepreneur and be your own boss, take that lead.
Entrepreneur, that's
You
what
have
I'm trying
to.
say.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to.
And I think that's happening more. But I think in the workforce, when people do choose to come into a job, a 9 to 5, if you will, or 8 to 5, and as a correctional officer, because aren't they still hiring correctional officers?
I don't know.
All the time.
Come on, and probation officers.
Yes,
I'm being facetious when I asked you that. My point what I was trying to point out, and I think those are all good things. We're right. I even think this generation that I don't really know a lot about, because you're right. A lot of young people that I know now, you're right. They are talking the same thing that you're talking about, Troy, and I respect that. I'm sorry about
It's
the
all right.
cheese.
It's all right.
I know your name, but I keep thinking about Tony.
Tony in the episode.
What did Tony say?
Shout out the producer, man.
Shout out to the producer.
What did Tony say?
So in the career field, I think it's even harder now from when I retired,
Definitely.
because I do believe that the young people and even a lot of people that are out there working have a different mindset. Because you're right, it's not like you can stay at a job for 30 years all the time and collect that pension.
And people think we lazy. We just want something different.
I don't think you're lazy. I've seen in the people that I've worked with, I've done corporate. Most of my work has been in corporate America. I've worked for the county. I've worked for the state briefly. but most of it has been in corporations. And what I find is I love your generation because you are very authentic in what you want. You're unapologetic about it, whereas other people in the workforce would be talking about how they hate the job, didn't want to participate in the job, because and then stay there,
Right.
So I work in the profession of human resources, and at the time that I was in the workforce, people were leaving the job every 7 years, getting a new job. I read something on YouTube today that what was going on is that there was a gentleman that he's been working at his job for 20 years at home, and they finally called him back in, and he quit.
Ooh, I don't
Just
blame
like
him.
that. He said, I'm not coming back in. So you make those kind of decisions. You know what? I think I'm going to leave this job. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do what Phyllis is doing. I'll meet her in Punta Cana. You know what I mean?
You better keep up with me. Y'all might want to keep up with me.
I'm telling you. So I admire that. And I also admire your entrepreneurial spirit.
Right.
The ability to, I think it takes a sense of bravery, fortitude, and I've met so many. And I worked in higher education, so we even decided to develop degree programs on entrepreneurship.
That's dope.
Then who were you going to get to teach it, right? It had to be people that were involved in that.
Yeah.
So anyway, just my take.
That's good. That's good. So
So I was going to say, just going off of, because we're getting ready to go
Okay.
into the next subject.
All right.
Which
Okay.
is dismantling stereotypes.
Okay.
And I'm glad you brought up that everybody thinks that millennials are lazy because we're not.
That part.
We work hard. Sometimes I work twice as hard. Even when I was in college, I had 2 jobs holding it down. It's Saturday night. I'm here. I'm not out. So essentially, I'm still working, right?
Invested in yourself.
And I
Right.
just feel like we need to just kind of honor that a little bit.
Today, I hope that we leave with a better understanding of how to approach generational gaps, changes in life, that we're able to share, to learn, to get techniques, better ideas, fresh take on age-old practices.